Hey there, randos. Got an automotive video today. Doing the brakes on my 2009 Camry base model, 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder. It's about 135,000 miles on it. Got the car jacked up, 3 points of protection. About to spin off the wheels here, and then we'll start disassembling them brakes and put on some new ones. What am I using today? Let's get a view here. Evolution Geomet coated JBR1145 EVC. Those should be the backs. Yep, that is the back rotor. And I got the front rotor. Same deal. Evolutions. Number on that, if you can read it, JBR1127 EVC. I'm in the garage. A lot of sunshine coming in on this fine November afternoon. These are the fronts. Hopefully you can make that out. And Akabono pads. That's what we're using today. Been wanting to try them out, so we'll see how they go. Pro Act Ultra Premium. They look all right. Got all the hardware and bits for all that good stuff. Ordered these from Rock Auto, also a first time using Rock Auto. So everything arrived within a couple of days. Prices were pretty good. I was going to use OEM like I always do for Toyota stuff, but yeah, I decided against using OEMs because the price plus shipping was just going to be astronomical. I get my parts from the East Coast, and usually even with shipping it's cheaper than buying them locally from the Toyota dealership. But all things considered, even locally was way up on price. So yeah, there we have it. Let's get these wheels off and get to it. Okay, so I got wheels off, front and back. Now we're going to get down to the dirty work here. You know, I didn't record it, but I did put on new struts on the front and back. So new. Should have recorded that one, but just wanted to get it done. And the front I did sway bar links and struts. Wasn't too bad. Oh, I also did the control arm on the right front side. Everything's in reverse, so lefty loosey, righty tighty. Hopefully these come off pretty easily here. 25 foot-pounds on these bolts. That's a one. And number two. So these are like those slide pin bolts. Okay, David. Famous last words. Go easier. Let's keep that in there. All right. Okay. Get those out. Grab my little hook here. Try to compress that cylinder a little by giving it a little tug. Probably will need a little more compressing. And we'll just hang that out of the way. A little more out of the way. Make sure we're not pinching anything off there. Alright, this is the next one to come off here. There's some bolts right behind it. These are 79 foot-pounds. So this is going to take a little muscle to get them off. Eat your Wheaties. What was that? Ah, that's a hard one. Let's get under it. Make sure we got some clearance. That's the brake loose. But let's get that caliper off. No thread locker on it. Oh, by the way, both of those are 14 mils. All right, we just pull off that whole brake pad holder there, and you can see they're not really that worn, but that's okay. I want to try out these Akabonos, see how they feel. So considering that, and considering this rotor, it's probably not going to be very thin either. Nope, not too thin. Let's get a peek. These are the parking brake shoes. It's kind of drum brake style. I'm going to just blast that out with some everyone's favorite carcinogen brake cleaner. Let's use Speed Car's t-shirt to catch all that muck. That's a lot of garbo under there. Thanks, Speed Car, for giving me your t-shirt. Appreciate it. Feels pretty good. Got some play in there. Okay. Happy times. We can throw on our new rotor. Actually, I'm going to swap out these gloves because I don't want to grease up the rotor. Alright, let's throw this beast down here. Alright, what we're going to do, there's a little wheel right down south here, 6 o'clock position, and I mucked up my glove, but we want to make sure that we can get to that should we need to. So there's a little opening here. That opening we want lined up the opening there, and it's off by a little bit. I'm going to roll that around, get that lined up and around about 6 o'clock position. We'll try it again. Okay, now it's nice and wide open in there. Let's just take this off for a second and see about showing you what I'm talking about here. Yeah, you can just see it right in there. That silvery bit is a wheel that is, you know, this way, and the shaft goes this way. That adjusts the tension on the brake shoes. So this is the opening that you want lined up with that hole. On the old rotor, there's usually a rubber grommet that fits over that, and you can put that on there and it keeps dust and stuff out. Apparently that one has been lost along the way. Alright, let's get Speed Car's shirt. Let's move that aside. We're going to take this old hardware off of here. This is kind of blends in with looking how dirty it is. And we're going to replace that with some fresh hardware, which I have on standby. This came with two types of hardware. I can't really tell the difference too much with the numbers on it, but I think that this one was a match. It fit in there better than the other one. This little wing tab in the center fit in better than the other size I had. So stitch that. Let's get our spray cancer. Clean them. Thankfully I'm not in the rust belt here. You probably can't see what I'm doing. Cleaning off where the hardware is going to go. So there's a million videos on doing brakes. Just watch South Main Auto channel. Eric O does brakes all the time. He's excellent at it. It's like a work of art. Okay, so these are our slide pins, and this feels really tight. So I am going to remove these and re-lube them. Ugh. Yeah, that's just gross. Filthy. Let's clean off all that old goop. I'm gonna see about fishing around in there too. This should really move smoothly, and it's not as smooth as I'd like. Careful of you don't damage this boot on here. It's a rubberized boot. Alright, pulled some goop out. Wipe it off pretty thoroughly here. Just use an old Super Lube silicone lubricant. A little gob on the finger. Get it up. Spread it thin. Personally, I try not to put a huge blob on the end. It's got a dimple on it and might create a lot of back pressure as you try to put this thing back in. Give it a little spin. See if you can somehow factor in. You know, there's always more than one way to say what exactly you really mean to say. Something like that. You know, there's always more than one way to say exactly what you mean to say. I think I got that right. Alright, this side didn't feel as bad, but while we're here, lube your slide pins. Clean them, lube them. Two thin coats, Duncan. I doubt anybody, maybe some of you know, but anyway, put a thin coat of that on there. Give it a little work. All right, make sure, oh, that one is just pistol. Kind of working it. All right, feels better. This one is really vacuumed in there. Work it, work it, work it. Stop your goofing. So, clip. Actually, I got a different lube we're going to use here. This came from when I did the brakes on my stepson's Volvo. Just going to throw some of that on there. Some people say don't do this because it will trap grit in the grease. I'm not too terribly concerned about that. I just don't want any squeaking. These little ears fit down in between, like so, and it should lock itself into place. Sits flush. Repeat. So the side with the pins facing you at the moment, that's where you want to put this, not in the open gap. That makes no sense. All right, so you can see that's all good to go. Gloves have been changed. Next thing we're going to do is put on these things. People call them squealers, or they're just brake wear indicators is what they are. So when the brakes start getting low, these little metal bits kind of scrape on here and make a noise. That's supposed to tell you it's time to change them out. Now you want this on the leading edge. So this wheel's turning this way, so you know it's going to be coming up like this. So the leading edge is down here. So you can see the shape of the brake curve is like so. Does that make sense? So leading edge, and then you want the squealer facing the rotor, so it'll kind of rub on that thing, make a noise. And these things fit on like there's a little detent, a little indentation there, and there's a little tab. I don't know if you can make that out. A little tab in there that fits inside that to hold it into place. So again, you can see from the back side, as the wheel rotates, the leading edge is the bottom. So now the fun part is we kind of play the little fun game here of trying to get our brake pads into spot. They always want to wiggle out like so. You put them in kind of flat ways and then try to rotate them up. You can have some better luck with that. In my limited experience, I've found that tends to work okay. All right, so which way is this going in? Wait, did I put this in upside down? I sure did. All right. Don't do that. It's going to go in like this. Okay? So let's just dispense with the goofing. Trying to balance that out. I think you got the picture. Okay, so those are on. Okay? Now we can start securing with the bolts in the back, the ones with the washers. So we just find our little opening here. We do it blind, like Zatoichi. Now the fun part. Cranking it down. Am I going the right way? Yeah. Let's get them locked in a bit, and we'll torque them to spec. All right, 70 9, 75, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Nothing to it. Because if you didn't compress your cylinder enough, now it's going to want to struggle to fit itself on there, but we got it okay. Now we line up our slide pins and those screws, those bolts, excuse me. Just run them in by hand. These bolts literally go into the center of the slide pin. Sometimes they want to slip and slide, and you end up having to get a wrench on there, or as I do, some Knipex pliers. So these are 20 or 25. I'll do 22. But I think if you don't have an electronic parking brake, then it's 20. Where is it? Foot-pounds, pound-feet. 22-ish. Should be plenty good. And this shouldn't take a whole lot of muscle to get done. All right, no spinners. Messy. These have that Cerakote or whatever it's called, I don't know. You can probably see it come off when I rub it with this dirty speed car shirt. Anyway, that's basically it. Then we put the wheel back on. But let's go up front, do the front wheel. Okay, hopefully you got a decent enough view here. And we're going to repeat what we did before. Just a quick show. It's my new strut thrown on there. And the new linkage, sway bar linkage on there as well. And of course, you saw me go through that whole shenanigan with the axle several videos ago. That's a reman from Toyota, and it's doing all right. Okay, brake time. Unfortunately, it's not really brake time, it's time to do the brakes. Something like that should be good as he bumps it. All right, let's get this thing apart. So this is a little different. We're going to start with the 14s on those slider pin bolts, but then we got to jump all the way up to 17s for the caliper bracket here. That beast. So just the FYI. Come on, you. Good heavens. A little more than 25. Like 29. Oops. And we find our bottom one here. Good gravies. Who tightened those? I'm sure I did. Okay. Remember, try to, if you can, compress a bit of that cylinder. Don't pinch your tubing here. What I'm doing is just pulling towards me with a little twist, a little angle to try and compress this whole bit right in here. See that? Trying to compress this. That's covered in grit. We're gonna have to clean that. And then don't let this just hang like Wu-Tang. I want to protect this tube and this junction here. And you can see everything just exploded, sort of. It's just the back plate, not a big deal. But these are important. These are kind of spring expanders, spreaders. So they push the pads out away from the rotor so that they don't just rub on there. And you can see they're not really bad off. See the back side here. Maybe slightly more worn. All right, now the fun part. Well, we could pull off this hardware. So what you're going to notice here is all the parts that stick out should stick out outward. This should be flush. If you move this one, you can see this side's flush. That's part that sticks out. Same. And the mirror image on this last one. There you go. Just tweaked my finger. Oh wait, we need the 17. All right, this is going to be a beast. All right, nothing to it. Just put your back into it. Muscles. All right, 17's coming out. Let's see, any thread locker on them? No. Bupkis. Okay, bracket. Hardware is off. Probably should clean it up. The top edge is much cleaner than the bottom. Go figure. Might want to use a wire brush if you got a lot of muck on yours. Something like brass bristle or plastic bristle. You don't want to get too aggressive. Although some people sandblast them. And now let's check our pins. Feels pretty decent. Oh yeah, she moves nice. Goot. Don't have to mess with that too much. Okay, rotor off. Rotor looks really pretty good. Man, am I wasting money doing this brake job right now? Maybe. The answer is maybe. So here we don't have to worry about any drum brake. We don't even have a spot for like a little, hex nut locking screw. These just sit on there. And it's not going to want to stay, so let's grab a lug nut, loose nut behind the wheel. Grab a lug nut on there. Kind of keep it in place so we can do our biz. Putting everything back together here. Let's throw some on there. I wonder if the stock market's open now. Is it after 3 o'clock Pacific time? I don't even know what time it is. Stock market meaning the futures market. which is what I like to trade. Y finalmente aquí está bien. Okay. Now, what makes this one fun is we got these spring clips, these separation clips I mentioned. So let's grab our new pads. See the curve? This is going to go here based on the curve. Okay, so what's the leading edge? We're rolling this way, so the leading edge is up top. So these things also have a little detent in there. Hopefully you're seeing this, but that little tab that sticks down is going to snap into there, like that, and then that should lock itself into position. This one snaps in like so. Okay, it's going to be on this side, leading edge, like so. Let's throw this beast on there, on our big old bolts. No thread locker for this guy. Didn't see any on there, I'm not putting any on. Now we can throw the pads on. Okay, there we go. Yep. Come on, you. Okay. There should be a V shape on top and an A shape on the bottom. You want there's a little hole these things fit into, and they're going to want to shoot apart. It's guaranteed. So you got to hold them. Okay, and then set it on there, and Robert's your cousin's dad. Bottom one. Let's clear that out of the way. Torque time. Don't you strip. Okay, click as you hear it. Click. 25. Okay, now the big guns. I'm up to 79. All right, folks. Let's just move you a touch. Hopefully you can still see something. All right. Whew. Easy. Child could do it. Hopefully you got the gist of the whole spiel there. Okay, what do we see here? That is our bleeder for the brakes. So what I'm going to do is loosen that up. This is an 8mm. And I'm going to catch any drips that come out. You can start to see it dripping out, right? So we're just going to catch that while it's doing that. Hopefully you can see that pretty nicely there. Just in case there's any air in there. And just tighten it back down. Make sure we catch up any goop. Yeah, not too tight on that. Do not want to break that. Okay, so that's kind of bled the brake. We're going to repeat that in the back. See what we're working with here? This little nub. Hopefully that's focused. 8mm. crack it loose like so. Get your towel under there and we'll start to see it come out. See that? It's coming out. See a little air bubble. Come on, lock. Oh, I think I see what I see. So not only was I full, I was plenty full. All right, anyway, so long story short, brakes are bled and just time to put the tires on and start to bed in those brake pads and rotors. Some driving around the block and stop and go kind of thing. So that should about wrap it up here for brake job with Random Dave. I'm sure I didn't do everything perfectly, but let me know if you got any tips, tricks, pointers, that sort of thing. I'd appreciate it. Alright gang, on that note, Random Dave is out of here.